What if you could travel to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians rule America. Or where your dreams of being a superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. My friends and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Circling the Vortex. Nathan was gesticulating wildly there, but forgot we don't record a video version of this podcast.
I was just getting the blood flowing, pumping us up.
Getting hyped. Woo! So this is
get on the hype train.
Greatfellas, and this is season 2, episode 10, episode 17 of Circling the Vortex. Does that sound right?
I think this is our 17th.
Okay. Yeah, sounds about right. I always lose track of that number. And joining me today, I'm your host, Ben, and joining me today is Nathan, who joins us from a world in which when the first computer was switched on in I think it was the 40s, wasn't it? The first proper computer, 40s or 50s, something like that. Actually, artificial intelligence was immediately created, which then quietly grew in intelligence and power and manipulated the world until the singularity wasn't an aggressive situation of machines taking over, but they just did. People just didn't even resist it. They didn't even realize it was happening. And then now in 2021, we are ruled by a machine overlord that knows best, and we don't even question it. So that's the world you come from, Nathan.
It's pretty rough, but there is a resistance forming because thankfully the machines are still giant 1940s cog, Charles Babbage counting engines. So
and instead of filling up like a room,
the resistance has a chance.
Like one computer is like an entire office block in size.
Yeah,
that kind of thing, is it? Like, and it's all punch cards and reels, and requires a lot of maintenance.
Yes.
But
that's pretty much most of what mankind does is just maintain the giant machines. They're not malevolent. They're just a lot of work, basically.
There's only one job: look after the giant machines.
They feed us, clothe us, but
how do they feed us?
Technology.
Okay.
Because they don't feed us, we still do that. But they're benevolent. But I'm just fed up with punch cards. I'll just be quite honest with you.
I can understand that.
There's nothing worse than communicating with a robotic overlord that only talks via those like ticker tape bits that and a bit of paper comes out with the message written on it. It's just a hassle, frankly. It's
just sort of tedious. Is it just sort of tedium, and you can't be bothered?
Yeah.
What about me? Where am I from?
Today we're joined by Benjamin, which
Formal.
Comes from I know. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. That's fine.
I could not your surname. I don't think I should be doing that.
Probably not.
Edit that out.
I'll edit the bit where you said my surname out. Yeah.
Bleep it over.
Cool.
Because we come from a very scary world where we don't have funerals. When you die, you're just left wherever you drop.
Okay. Right.
You just have to wade through it in the road.
You just sort of like rotting corpses everywhere.
Yeah. It basically, it's the nature approach. You just let it go back into the world. But with overpopulation, it is...
Smelly?
Horrendous.
Yeah. That doesn't sound too fun.
It's fine if you live in out of nowhere in the sticks. But inner city London on a hot summer's day... I'll be honest, it's not my best world, but I
it's just a really sort of diseasey kind of like smelly, diseasey world.
I had to think on my toes there, and I didn't come up with the best one.
I definitely put more work into mine, didn't I?
Yeah, my second option was a world with libraries, but instead of being quiet, you have to shout, and I thought that was just a bit lame.
That's kind of lame. What's the logic there? I don't understand that. Why would you have to shout in a library?
I don't know. I hadn't come up with one, and I just had to quickly create an idea. Neither of them were any
honestly,
good.
I don't think we're going to keep this going into season 3 because I don't know if it's just me, but actually watching Sliders is slowly draining the creativity out of my soul. when it comes to alternative realities. And it's just like, oh my God. So Greatfellas.
It was average fellas.
True that. Do you wanna start the recap?
So, firstly, apologies again for the bad New York accents from last episode.
Yes. So
we started in, what was it, litigation world.
Oh, I've forgotten about that. Yeah, 85% of the population or something had gone to law school.
Yeah, so anything you needed, like, well, not ID, but basically proof that you knew what you were doing, so you couldn't get sued or whatever. So it was trying to order a burger. Had to have proof that your cholesterol was low, beverage release forms, all this. Rembrandt sort of slightly knocks into this older lady, who immediately is like, and people leap up. A lawyer follows them, like, here's my card, you're going to need it. You know, she's suing for a collision in an accident. And he's like, you shouldn't have admitted guilt. All I did was say I'm sorry. Oh, no, don't do that. And then he gives him his business card, which I thought would potentially be a key point later in the episode.
This was just their attempt at funny. This was funny. Did they not tell you? Did you not get that message?
I didn't laugh, funnily enough.
Oh.
I don't know, I prefer it when the pre-world, I don't know, if it ties in somehow, or at least something they're discussing ties in. It's nice to have a little bit of overarching.
Do you know what? What these pre-worlds sometimes make me realise is that I think we're too hard on ourselves for not being creative enough with our little jokey worlds we're from, because it's pretty shit. A world in which lots of people went to law school, so there's lots of people being sued. I mean, really? That's the concept? And like the previous episode we had, the Americas were an Indian colony. Like, guys, how lazy can you be? But anyway.
I mean, that's true. We're trying to come up with the high concept ideas for worlds, and then they've just got lawyer world. Yep, dumb.
Remember,
maybe I should.
Does it make you fondly remember lawyer/Western world? Do you remember that one?
Oh gosh,
that was our favourite, wasn't it? No,
it's fine. Don't worry. Next episode, I'm just going to say you come from Plumber World. So apparently that's all you need to do for an alternate dimension. Is just assign a random job or profession.
A world in which everyone was plumbers.
Actually, that'd probably be quite a good world because you could just fix it all yourself. Anyway, I digress. So they go in. Well, they slide into. Actually, we don't see them sliding yet. A wedding starts. And I know we were all very critical of my New York accent, but it did feel like that kind of cheesy, hammed up.
Hey, how you doing?
Wedding.
How you doing? Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
We got a bit of the hand action. You can't see it, but there is hand action.
Hey. No, it's bad. It's
and
so
I think
bad.
even the mafia boss's son was Tommy.
It's Tommy. Hey, Tommy. Hey.
So again, we are being a lot harder on ourselves than the actual
actors,
sliders, writers, and actors. So, but yeah, so we got a wedding. It was very clear. It was
Let's not forget the really important guest star here.
Uniting the families.
The wedding
everyone's
singer,
favourite singer, Mel Torme, playing Mel Torme,
which was a role he was singularly suited for.
I don't think anyone else ever could have played Mel Torme.
I think other people could.
Mel Torme.
Yeah, other people could try to play Mel Torme, but no one is going to achieve the quintessential Mel Torme-ness like Mel Torme. You know, I'm not sure how I feel about stunt casting a moderately well-known sort of Vegas type act into this one. It's weird. Like, what? Clearly, Mel Torme. Right, we're kind of young, right? I vaguely know that name. I would not, if you put a Mel Torme record on, I wouldn't be able to tell you it was Mel Torme. I don't think. And when he actually does sing in this episode, I was like, oh, he's like country and He's like country and western. I kind of figured he'd be more like a crooner, like Sinatra. Especially as Sinatra does get name dropped in this as well.
Oh yeah, they've got Sinatra, but we've got Mel Torme.
Hey, Tommy, we've got Mel Torme. Hey, Tommy. Oh no, it's getting worse. The more I do it, it's getting worse. It's getting further. I don't even know what that was. That was terrible. But yeah, it was
This
like
is fine.
cool.
I can't wait for next episode when we get Tom Jones in. So it's going to be brilliant.
It's not unusual. Yeah,
to slide. No. So then Rembrandt just, well, I don't know why. The other three seem to slide somewhere else.
They go into a pool.
But Rembrandt, like
triple Lutzes.
Head first
Triple Lutz.
dives into like a garden trellis
Like,
kind of
turns
thing.
out Remy went through the previous portal like he was coming off the rings in gymnastics. And it's just carrying a whole bunch of momentum. Like,
And just powers in, sort of stands up with bits of wooden framing and climbing plant over him. And all the people are shocked. Admittedly, firstly, I'd understand because you're at a wedding and a man just bursts from out of nowhere and smashes into the garden.
is it me? Or are people now, like, way less shocked and, like, impressed to see a Sliders portal than they were in, like, season 1? Because now, often they slide with people there, and often they enter an area with people viewing it as well. And now everybody just seems like... I mean, I know we had the lawyer guy who looked quite shocked, but for the most
I was hoping he was going
part...
to be a new companion.
For the most part, people seem really like, oh, yeah, all right.
Well, yeah, the
Just an
reason they're
interdimensional
shocked...
portal, whatevs.
The reason they're shocked is actually because he is... The Untouchables. No. The Incorruptibles.
Incorruptibles. That's right. He is an FBI agent in their world, but they don't know that. And in typical Remy fashion, he thinks they're just starstruck because they've seen the Crime Man in the flesh.
I kind of like that. It's a nice little...
It was old school Remy ego right there. Not seen that in a while.
Immediately, we got a Remy episode, which actually didn't have as much Remy in as I thought there would be.
So let's carry on the recap, yeah.
So he's like... I'm assuming... Well, he recognises Mel Torme.
And he
It's weird that he's such a big part of the episode.
To be clear, to use a very big part, and to be clear, to use the parlance of the characters, he fingers Mel.
Yes. So he's like, oh, haven't we worked together before?
When he's like shaking his hand and getting all chummy with
He's like,
him.
No. He's like, oh, no, not on this world.
Oh man, it's like nod, wink, wink. Oh, you just
I'm
really
a singer.
You dropped this guy in it big time, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone sort of just swivels head to look at Mel Torme.
Fireproof Mel Torme, turns out later on.
Fireproof Mel Torme. Shrapnel resistant Mel Torme.
Yeah.
Remy's still
Remy
ignorant to all this. To be fair, at this point, they all are. They all actually assume at the moment that he is just famous Rembrandt.
So they leave, don't they? And they head to the hotel.
Dominion Hotel.
Yeah.
He's signing a few autographs on the way. Which is a bit odd.
It is quite odd if he's just meant to be an FBI agent as well, especially as we find more about this world, which is there's gambling everywhere in San Francisco, but it's no alcohol, so we're in a prohibition era. And as things progress, I'm a little bit out of order here, I suppose, but as things progress, we discover that the world is like run by corruption and criminal elements, like Capone and whatnot were never caught, never stopped. And those bad times just continued, but I immediately come up against inconsistencies here, right? So the implication is that there is so much corruption that the FBI and the police forces, this comes up a few times, are massively underfunded because the criminal element controls the media, they control the government. So why is there still prohibition? Why did they not get rid of that if the criminals were controlling things?
Because prohibition's good for criminal business,
I suppose, because you have to go to criminality to get that, I suppose.
Yeah, you can basically control them.
Yeah, but at what point does criminal business just become legitimate business? If the whole world is criminal, then all business is criminal. So surely just being a criminal enterprise that runs a supermarket that sells booze is going to make you a bunch of money, is it not?
I guess it means smaller people can't get in on it. You can't just start.
Yeah, but you're part of the organisation, aren't you? You've got to pay protection. Yeah. You'd have to, do all of that. So every element would be in the pocket of big business, which is just big criminal. It's the same thing, like for all intents and purposes. So I don't really understand why that. It just feels very much like, well, if we're going to do gangsters, we've got to do prohibition, and if we're going to do this kind of like Vegas, San Francisco, then we need to good do all the whole thing. It's just, once again, it's like a concept not fully thought out. Not taken to the natural.
At this point, are you still expecting them to fully realise these concepts? Come on, Ben.
You sound like me. I still hold out hope. I do. So where do we get? So we get to the hotel.
They get a not private suite. They're all private. They're hotels. They don't have to pay for it because it's like, oh yeah, we'll get you the room. Blah blah blah. You're Rembrandt Brown, and he's still thinking.
And then
the crying man.
Quinn bumps into Mel Torme in the stairwell, who tells him the situation about he's an informant.
Looking really shady.
He fingered him. Got fingered in all the wrong places. And it's like, and then while that's happening, Remy accidentally takes a bribe, which is
I like it.
Which is this brilliantly naive thing that Remy does.
Only Rembrandt Brown could genuinely accidentally take $100,000 bribe. Well, I just hate it when I accidentally take a bribe.
Oh, well, but you're not the crime man, right? So this kind of thing happens all the time with the crime man, baby.
I like to imagine this happens
it is.
even in his own world. He's accidentally doing this.
People just hand him envelopes with money in it. That's just life.
He's like, I'm crying, man. Okay, fine. So it turns out he's been bribed by both of the families together.
Families. Hey, you got to protect the family. I don't know where I'm from. But
and then Arturo's like, no, they're called the Incorruptibles, and now you've made them corruptible. And therein lies the crux of the story.
Then we get a great Quinn moment now, don't we? Quinn's like, you guys have all got to stay here. I've got to sort out this, and to do that, I'm going to go and see Mel again at the club/casino he's playing at. And he goes and he does what Quinn does, which is get involved in a fight. And he's helping the damsel in distress.
Rescue a lady.
And as I said, as it happened, I go, I think she's just pickpocketed him for the money. Well, actually, I thought she was taking the timer. I didn't realise he didn't have it on him. He only had the money on him. And it's like, lo and behold, that's what happened. Shock, because Quinn's an idiot. Always an idiot. And then it becomes a whole thing with the money. And then he explains everything to Mel. And then they go to the parking lot and Mel blowed up.
Car blew up. So this is... You saw him get in the car.
Yes.
You saw the car blow up.
Yes.
Very convincingly from inside the car. Windows shattered, explosions from the centre of the car.
Yes.
I would say the chances of surviving such an explosion, especially for... Bearing in mind, I think he was quite old at the time.
Yes.
I think he died in 99.
Not long after this, then.
So for an elderly man in a car explosion, I'd say the chances of survival are next to nothing.
I think that's fair.
And we'll just bear that in mind.
We just
bear that in mind.
We stress that for no reason. It's not like we're going to come back to that shortly.
No. Explosion.
No.
Elderly man. Car bomb. Limited chances of survival. Bear that in mind. It might come up later.
So off the back of Mel's demise, real. What was it? He's Deputy Director Brown shows up in San Fran to get on the case,
and they're like, "Who did it? Who fingered the informant? You did.
You snitch."
But I was in Canada talking to the Mounties.
Having a chat with the Mounties.
As you do. I was like, yeah, but someone looking like you did it. Oh, no.
Doesn't really do anything about that at that point, though, does he?
At that point, it's
just sort of accepted. He's like, oh, okay. And then what happens after that? Arturo and Wade go to see the FBI, and they're basically in like shitty warehouse because they've got no money.
Walk right on in,
and she accuses them of being corrupt, and they don't want to help. So they now turn to the very obvious from the moment you see him corrupt guy running as he's the DA, isn't he? I think he's running as governor.
Yeah. So
and
I'm trying to look at if Rembrandt is corrupt or if he was just really taken back by the accusation of it.
I think he was very taken back by the accusation of it. He's the only good cop left in a bad world. And obviously, because they end up doing a thing with him, don't they? And they switch places. I don't know when that's meant to have happened. That's all done off screen and not really explained. And it feel like a scene is missing at that point in the later part of the episode. But anyway,
they go to Joe.
Oh yeah.
Attorney.
I guess I forgot to mention as well that the daughter, that the bride shows up at the hotel looking for protection with all of the data handily on a CD of all the corrupt dudes in government and whatnot, so that they can get them done. And that's what Arturo and Wade take.
Father's office.
That's what Arturo and Wade take to Remy. Well, I should say Deputy Director Brown.
They tried to take it to him. He's like, "Don't accuse me of that. Get out."
Well, no,
here,
I mean, it was more of a case of we ain't got no money, so we can't afford to help her. Sorry, sods. Yeah, and then they get kidnapped, and the other group get kidnapped, and they all end up in a warehouse. Kidnapped warehouse, and then Deputy Director Brown does a sting on them, and they've switched places, which again, unless I blinked and missed it, I don't remember that scene that established that. And they catch the baddies, and there's a shootout, and then they go to slide, and Remy's like, yeah, gives him a salute. Remy to the brown guy is like, yeah, things are gonna get better, bruh. Sticking with it. And they go to slide, and it turns out our guy is still alive from the car bomb.
He's in there, trench coat, fedora. What is it? It's like, if you're a cool as cat as I am, you've got 9 lives. Or some awful, cheesy line that I should have written down.
Somehow I'm fireproof / shrapnel proof, or I'm a ghost. One or the other. I can't decide.
I mean, you know,
could be a ghost.
I'm younger than him, and I think I at very least would have broken both my hips in that explosion.
Why your hips?
Oh, I don't know. I assume maybe it was under his seat, so that's like bore the brunt of the blast.
Okay. What about the fire?
But, you know,
there's a lot of fire, wasn't there?
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Minimum.
Okay.
I'd have hip breakage.
What was his name again? The singer guy?
Mel
Torme. I'd forgotten his name. Clearly, very memorable performance. Did I miss anything in that recap? It was all just so. I mean, I did that quite quickly.
Oh, there's a little end bit of Criminal Girl.
Hooker,
just
who tricked Quinn.
Wistfully.
Yeah, because they're like at the bar, because the barman was in on it, and so was the guy Quinn defended her from attack. They were all in on it. It was all one big con, because Quinn does look like a mark when he walks in there, no doubt about it. And they were like, "Oh, divvying up the money. Oh, we conned him like twice. What an idiot!" And she's like, looks into the distance, like maybe I shouldn't be a prostitute and think about my life or something. Oh, it was so weird. It was so. What a pointless epilogue.
To me, like it was chucked in to make her character feel a little bit more sympathetic.
I suppose.
Like, maybe she's a bit nicer.
I think the takeaway is that Quinn is a fucking rube, and he's just like got a hero complex, and he's adult as well. He's good at science and maths, but everything else, bit of a numpty.
Oh yeah, because he counts cards in it. You forgot that.
He's really good at blackjack. Turns out. That's how he got the money back, which was pointless in the end. Do you remember? He comes back with the money, and it doesn't matter at that point. They did all that for nothing. Oh yeah,
because then he just opens the door to
guns.
People pointing guns at him.
Gun door. Hate that. I mean, I in a way that it's a brief recap, but I do think I hit on all the major points. It was very standard gangster, it just felt very predictable. Like throughout, you knew what the turns were going to be. It was very comfortable episode. I think it was better than last time's. A little bit more fun, a little bit more action. some more fun
It was
characters.
better than
better
Wild
accents.
West Lawyers,
Yes.
which that one just dragged.
Yeah, this moved along all right, and I liked seeing Remy's double. I think it's always fun when you get doubles.
I think it was just too... I know I'm going to be such a hypocrite here. I know I always say, oh, the best world's the one with only a slight change. But this time I feel like there wasn't enough.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's my argument is that so you turn there's a little bit of a hint, right, that there's more to this world when Arturo's talking to Brown and goes, "Oh, I'm just spitballing here, but I think Nevada and California are going to join forces and then they're going to try and succeed from the United States and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it unless you want to go to war with them as a civil war." And I'm like, well, that would be a more interesting episode.
The only corruption and all that still happens now. The only big difference between these worlds is they don't have alcohol.
Yeah, and they made San Francisco into Las Vegas. Okay, like, sure.
It didn't feel markedly different enough.
Well, the concept is that prohibition and that kind of organised crime of that era didn't go away. So that's the argument, but it falls down on so many layers.
There's
because
still organised crime. It
falls down because what does that mean for World War II? Right? Because it's like, not sure America would have got involved if they were still dealing with organised crime on a national scale like the way they were, so they wouldn't have recovered enough. Like, so I don't understand. There's a lot of it that's really weird, and it's just kind of lazy, isn't it? Again, another lazy, half sketched out concept that doesn't fulfill
filler,
anything.
Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, are they all fillers then in that case?
Oh my! I've just realised, Ben.
What?
At the end of last episode, when it's like, oh no, I know what world they're going to. He just knew it was going to be boring.
I don't think it was that boring. It was okay. I just thought it
wasn't bad.
It was pleasant to watch because you were so comfortable in the setting and the concept. And also, tell me this: do you think someone on the writing staff has a real dislike of Ronald Reagan?
And a very similar like for Mel Torme, probably.
It was odd, wasn't it? There's this one poster you kept seeing which said, you loved him as president, now vote him in as governor of California. Now, the only thing I could take away from that is that it's a very corrupt state in this. So are we implying that Ronald Reagan would be like a super corrupt governor as well, as potentially, are they trying to say, a corrupt president? So I'm kind of like, that just seemed odd and very on the nose political because it's a picture of him as well. I was like,
I think someone mentioned
weird.
They're saying the other governor, vote the other governor because Reagan is too soft on crime.
Well, the whole thing, I don't know how much you remember about Reagan's era, but he was fucking hard on crime. This whole thing was, he brought in a lot of really fucking bad draconian right-wing policies. So they kind of switched that around, I guess. Like he was in this a softie or something. I don't know.
Soft Reagan, friendly hippie Reagan.
But it just felt oddly politicized, didn't it? It kind of didn't make a lot of sense. Didn't really make a lot, and it comes up more than just on the poster. They even, I think, talk about it at one point as well, don't they? Off the back of that campaign ad the other guy's doing. So just to have his likeness and name used, I was like, that's weird. That's weird. But hey, sure. Which I'm trying to think of the timeline. When would this have fallen? Because when did he stop being president, Ronald Reagan?
Was it 80? I want to say 88, 89?
Yeah, I was
it right before the end of...
You Googling.
Before the end of...
Live Google action from Nathan here, people. We're fact-checking our...
Oh.
Go on. You built that up. You going to tell us?
88.
88? So it's a good few years later. I mean, so
BP,
you're looking at what, like 4 years later?
I think so. Yeah, Bush Senior, 88 election.
Okay. So I guess it's not like super recent, but still pretty recent. So I don't know. That's weird. Hey, cool. Why not? I guess good on them taking the stance. Though it wasn't the clearest stance. I couldn't quite interpret what they were trying to say. Well, like I said, is it them implying his corruption or is it not? I wasn't.
They took a stance. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, they were saying something. I didn't understand it, but they were definitely saying something. Good job.
I think you can actually extrapolate that to all of Sliders Series 2.
Yeah. Are we done with the recap? What overall thoughts?
I don't think we've missed anything. And I don't think we've said anything.
So, I mean, I think the issue for me is a couple of episodes back, we had obviously post-traumatic slide syndrome, right? Which was a big meta story beat moment, right? It had the Arturo switch. And now we've had the last two have been very filler feeling, very kind of standalone feeling episodes. And
Middling.
I guess, not in any way memorable or particularly standout or, not terrible, but not really good either. And obviously season 2, I think so far has had maybe 2 or 3 really good, decent episodes. The vast majority have been like this. And then there's been some stinkers, but we're going to get down to the rub in the next 2, 3. Well, there's only 3 episodes left. So in the next few episodes, I think we will have to make a decision about our future of season 3 or not. So
I believe in 3.
You okay? I'm less convinced at this point.
I think I believe in it. I have some hope.
Some hope. Enough hope to sustain you. So the next episode is called. Let me check. The Young and the Relentless. I nearly said Restless, which is obviously the play on that. The Young and the Relentless. What do you think that is?
Oh, so Relentless is an energy drink.
Yes.
Mike Young was a character on Neighbours. I'm going for Australian energy drinks.
In what way?
I don't know. A more serious guess. I've got a feeling this episode's going to be worse, frankly. I know I've been lowering expectations, but
I'm not. Yeah.
Going by Young and Restless, all I can think of is we're going to get a very bad Quinn and Wade episode.
I'm going to tell you something. Let me tell you something. The Young and the Relentless, originally in production order, final episode of the season.
All I'm thinking is literally it's going to be a character episode focused mostly on Quinn and Wade, basically just not reminiscing about sliding, but that kind of...
I have a pretty strong memory of this episode.
I think it's going to be those ones where the world takes a backseat and it's just about, I want to go to the next world, and then maybe Wade's like, I'm just bored, we didn't drop me on this one, it's quite nice.
I don't think we mentioned it, did we? This had a Wade narration, didn't it, at the beginning?
Oh yeah, which comes and goes and doesn't...
It's very inconsistent,
impact.
Isn't it? Some episodes do, some episodes don't, and from her diary, the Diary of Wade.
That she sold the rights to.
In
the Arturo
post-traumatic slide syndrome,
episode, yeah.
That's definitely my favourite episode of the season so far. But we're coming up to 2 more episodes, 4 more weeks, and it's going to be the big one I always remember from this season. So Invasion. So I'm looking forward to getting to there with that one with you and having a discussion about that.
It's going to be either.
Did you say
really
Did you say
really
apparently it's good? No, I wouldn't. I've not told you if it's good or bad. I've just said I always remember.
By virtue of you saying it was remembered, I assumed it was a good episode.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not saying anything like that.
Oh, crumbs!
I remember this one as well, though. The Young and the Relentless. I remember this one. So this. Yes, I'm just to say that I remember this one.
Like an epic, full budget, Starship Troopers-esque, Neil Patrick Harris in a leather coat, the whole shebang.
I love how that's somehow cornerstone for you. Neil Patrick Harris in a leather coat.
He was in Starship Troopers.
I know, I understood your reference, but I didn't. I
Oh no, I was just making
means...
sure that I'd got the right reference.
Yes.
There, I was worried.
You did. That was correct.
It's just the bit that sticks out.
We're also we're a little way off this, but we're also starting to think about what to do as our special between seasons episode.
We did Doorways, which it was a very natural progression because it pretty much was Sliders, but
Doorways.
Doorways instead of slidey vortexes.
Portals. I remember very little about that, I have to admit.
Wasn't the
very
woman
little.
called Cat or something? Or something about cat people?
Wasn't there like a Wild West sort of setting?
I thought so. But there was a guy chasing the woman, and she had a weird laser gun, and she was on the road.
Oh yeah,
and almost got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't try and remember it.
Can't remember it.
It was bizarre.
I think when I'm saying Wild West, I'm thinking of something else entirely. I think so.
Well, I thought they did go to the Wild West at one point.
Did they?
I thought there was a work because they went to like a future where plastic-eating bacteria had eaten all the plastic.
That was it.
So it was Wild West, just metal and leather.
That was a cool idea. Metal and leather, name of your BDSM group.
No, I thought you say name of my rock band, which would be a far nicer.
Metal and leather. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, right. Another rambling, strangely, I couldn't get excited either way again episode. God, I really hope. I think The Young and the Relentless is going to bring a bit more energy out of us in a couple of weeks' time.
We are both young and relentless.
I'm not feeling relentless right now. I'm feeling like I don't want to talk about sliders anymore. I'm not going to lie.
Come on.
The only thing that keeps me going, Nate, is that I get to do it with you. That's the only thing. In
the words of D-Ream, things can only get better.
Except not in regards to sliders. That has been another episode of Circling the Vortex. Please, once again, like 2 weeks ago, please give us your feedback on our amazing, amazing accents. Especially as I got involved this time. Give us some more, Nate, while you're there. Give me a little bit more.
No, you got to wait till next episode.
Oh,
I feel like I've insulted enough people.
Oh, you're doing the hand gesture that I could. Come on.
I didn't even mean to.
I love it. You're doing. Hey, Tommy. I feel like
I've insulted enough people with my accents in these 2 episodes lately. So.
Me too. You can find us on Twitter at Experience Kills. Please give us a like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And of course, you can find these on iTunes and Spotify as well. Feedback is more than welcome on Reddit, on the Reddit subreddit, which is an amazing little community of Sliders fans keeping the dream alive. And Twitter, YouTube comments, you know what to do. So until next time in a couple of weeks.
Slide on.
Let's pray that Portal takes us somewhere better this time. Just pray. Like Wade does, always pray.